Coach Damon Floyd Show here on the Bear Network and on ESPN Cleveland 1013. I'm your host, Gary Ownbey, as we talk about the upcoming game. We'll look back at last Friday's game, a tough loss, 16-13 to McMinn County. Our coach shows each week brought to you by Wholesale Supply Group, along with Tropes Unlimited there on Mimosa Drive and LB Appliance on Durkee Road. Coach, first off, I hate to even ask this, injuries bite us. We started the game with 3 quarterbacks, end the game with 1. So you're the coach. What's your game plan? Step up,
Well, I mean, it's part of the game, and we say every year, and I think every coach, that's the biggest fear, is you have an injury or two, and it totally changes your team. AJ Nash went in after Cook got hurt, and then he went out with a concussion, and Tyler Cook's little brother, who's a freshman, went in. But, quite honestly, it's on me. Our job as a coaching staff is to have whoever playing is ready, and we didn't. And we lost a tough game, but I don't think that cost us the game. With all that happening at the end of the game, we still had a chance to win it, and we didn't get it done. So we had 15 penalties for like 170 yards, I think, and so anytime that happens, then that looks like a team that's not very well coached. So I take full responsibility. I got to have our team ready to play, and I didn't this week.
Well, McMinn County, on the other hand, they had 15 penalties, I think, as well, for 100-something yards. And it looked like the first game of the year, and a lot of reasons for the team, the way they played sometimes, take some hard knocks and all that. Referees, I can't comment about them, but it was first game of the year. Just leave it at that right there. And you said last week, I believe, Michelle, that sometimes the game between the most improvement seen between the first and second game. We need to see a lot of improvement in a lot of areas. We had a very good bunch of positives. I thought the defense played really well, 210 yards allowed, I think it was, something like that. Anytime you hold a team that kind of yardage, you're doing good. Offensive running backs really ran hard. I was impressed with Beard and Peyton Parker Pierce. Peyton Parker Pierce.
Yes.
Price. Peyton Parker Price, I get it right. The guy with 3 names. A lot of good positives came out of that, I thought. And so you got to work off that and build off that. And, you got Tyner coming in. They lost 24-8 to Red Bank last Friday night. Another team we'll see later on, Red Bank. So there's nobody going to feel sorry for the Bears.
No.
They take no pity. We don't want any pity,
No. Look, it's a tough game. I mean, and that's why everybody practices to get ready to play. And they've got to make sure they understand, as a coaching staff, you try to stress those things like you've got to be ready if you're not a starter because one guy goes down, you got to be in. But, sometimes when you're a freshman, and AJ and Cook are freshmen, and they gave their best, but, it's different on a Friday night than a middle school game, and especially against McMinn County. So, hopefully we do see an improvement. Like you said, I thought our defense played really well. We gave up a long pass that we shouldn't have. And then, the other 2 drives were literally penalties all the way down the field. And that's the frustrating part. I felt like our guys were, for the most part, in position to make plays. And for the most part, I thought we tackled pretty well. But still got to get better. And then offensively, you have something good happen, and it was a penalty. Yep. And you just can't afford holding calls. They're just they kill you. They'll kill your drive right away. You can't overcome 2nd and 20. No offense can. And then the holding penalties, and then the couple. I think we had 5 or 6 drop passes.
Yeah, sure did.
You can't have this at that level, and I felt like really all 5 of them were wide open. As open as you're going to get at this level. So it's really a lot of things that we caused, and that's the things that we have to understand. We cannot beat ourselves. And then on the flip side, McMinn County's the same way. So it is the first game of the season, and it is an excuse, but when you have a lot of guys that haven't played on Friday night, you kind of expect some of that. Didn't want that many.
Yeah.
But I knew it was probably going to be sloppy, but hopefully we improve for the second game.
Well, you had a lot of enthusiasm. I tell you what, Wiley Susquith, he's like a lightning rod out there. That guy, he is like his hair is on fire. He plays so hard all the time, and he just gets the teammates fired up. I'd like to point him out along with Anthony Perez, A.J. Bingley, Zane McIntosh, Tay Sheehy, Kendon Phelps. A lot of guys with a lot of tackles there, and they really look good. Your defense is always there. And Coach will tell you, if your defense is there, and if they can't score, they can't beat you.
Right.
Offense, you can come along with hope, but I thought you had some very good positive things to bring out of that game.
Yeah, Coach Benefield, our defense coordinator, did a great job getting those guys ready and, installing the game plan that was very effective. And, our players went out and executed, so they deserve a lot of credit. Once again, we just can't give up, the big play. And we did, and it's the difference. One of the differences in the game. There's a lot of plays that, special teams have got to get better. It was missed some points there that really, we lose by 3 and we missed 4 points there. So it's an overall team loss, and the overall team has to get better.
Yeah.
And we can't sit down and point the finger and make excuses. We got 9 games left. We got to get ready for Tyner this week.
A lot of room for improvement on offense, a lot of room for improvement on defense, and the special teams, as you talk about, they're basically a third of the game plan. You look at all the plays they're in on, kickoffs, the extra points, field goal traps, stuff like that. They're a huge part punting. I thought Brady Lewis punting coming in there to replace Tucker did a really good job punting, almost 40 yards a punt, I believe.
Brady can do a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Now we've moved to Holder. We've talked about him being the punt returner. He's obviously punting. He's not only the tight end, he's a very good receiver. So we move him around a lot inside and outside. So, yeah, we're very fortunate that he's, the kind of guy that can do a lot of different things. Really can play defense too, but, you got to give him a break at some point. So, I thought he stepped up, his first game at Bradley and played really well. So we're expecting big things from Brady.
Yeah, I can see improvement. He's just sophomore.
Just sophomore, yes.
And big kid, too. A lot of good things happened out there Friday night, even though we didn't come out on top of the score there. Let's take a break now for Ownbey Appliance out there on Dirt Key Road, also Tropes Unlimited on Mimosa Drive. We'll return to take a look at the upcoming game for the Tyner Academy, the Rams, the Ram train they call them. Back in just a minute. Welcome back to our Coaches Show with Damon Floyd here, brought to you by Ownbey Appliances and Tropes Unlimited. Tyner comes into town this Friday, and they're still the Road Warriors. They had to play all the games on the road last year, and this year I've got a good friend who's working on that contract there, building the school, and they may not even play there next year. They're going to move the students into the new academic part at Christmas break this year, tear down the old school, and build a football field there. So the hall's got to be cleared out, and a lot of it's got to happen, but and how would you like to have to be every week, load up your equipment and go somewhere? They're playing 4 games in Oodawall.
Yeah.
But everything else is on the road like here at Bradley. So how would you like to be the coach and equipment manager and all that? You don't have a dressing room at home. You don't have nothing. It's all in the closet or something, I guess, or in the bus.
Yeah,
that's
I do not wish that on anyone.
No.
That is, you got a lot of things to worry about. Having a place to dress and practice.
Yeah.
Those things we don't think about every day. So I really do feel for those guys because that takes a toll on you, not only 1 year, but 2 years. When we had our turf put in, we had, I think, 4 games that we couldn't play here, 4 or 5, and that was rough.
Yeah.
So to go what they've gone through, that's tough, So I definitely feel for those guys, but they've done a good job. They're a different team than they were last year. They were really young last year, had a lot of new guys that had just left the state championship team. So a lot of these guys that are playing now are a lot more experienced than what we saw last year. So much improved team. I think they do the right things. They're well coached. They have athleticism. They have size. So it's going to be a good game.
Well, and for benefit of Tyner, when they do have their new field, it'll be turf. They'll have brand new facilities, dressing room, and all that good stuff. Oodawall has a turf field now. Saudi has a turf field, and Howard has a turf field. So they're slowly getting it rolled out there in Chattanooga. The Rams lost that game, they've said, to Red Bank. They were down 24-0, fought back there. And Coach Maynor, who's been there his second year, took over for Chandler, who won the state in 22, as you mentioned. And now he stayed in Chandler, went back to Georgia, I guess, to his home. But what do you see that scares you with Tyner? They're quick from what I've seen and heard and read about. Quinte Brown, I believe the quarterback's name, he's a guy to take off on if you're not careful and get him MD in there.
Well, like I said, they're athletic. They have size. Their scheme, they do the right things. You can tell they're coached well. So it's like any other game we play. We can't hurt ourselves. We have to line up correctly defensively to formations. Offensively, we have to recognize, their front and our blocking assignments. I don't think it's any secret. We're going to really rely on our run this particular game. We can't handcuff our quarterbacks. We do. If you look forward to all of our games, we can't be one-dimensional.
Right.
So we know we're not where we need to be at this moment, but it's not something that we're going to just quit on. We're going to keep working to get better, and, you know, our guys have to pick it up, and we have to do what gives us the best chance to win. And last week, you know, it's kind of what happened is I really feel good about our running back room. Do we have one particular just stud? Probably not. But we do have a lot of guys that we feel confident can go in there and get the job done. But then when our quarterbacks went out, if you notice, the box got a little tighter, and they weren't really worried about some of our threats on the outside anymore. So it all works hand in hand. We have to show that we will still throw the ball so our box doesn't get loaded so we can run it. You know, I thought our offensive line played really well. Chris Myers was our player of the week, a junior captain. You know, he's the only starter we had returning from last year on this year's team. So I thought he did a good job offensively, along with the rest of our offensive line. But we're definitely going to rely on the run game. And that's kind of what Red Bank did. They ran. I think they hit a couple of big plays on them. Yeah. And then, to be quite honest, Tyner just had a tough time getting our offense going. So did we. So, you know, it's part of it. I don't know. Like last week when I did this interview is, you know, you hope you come out and play a clean game. I hope we improve, but if we don't, who knows?
Well, both teams last week had 2 turnovers each. You know, I ask you this usually every week, what's the key? Turnovers and penalties, you'll say, and that's a mantra that every coach in the world will probably tell you there. What does Coach Maynard like to do offensively? Are they more of a passing, run, or RPO? Or
they're more balanced, but, you know, you hate to say balanced because it really depends on what you're getting defensively. So it's not just that your offense is balanced. Everybody this day and age is, you know, unless you're in wing T, is counting numbers in the box and then going, no, check with me. Okay, let's check to this play, depending on what the defense give you. But there's multiple. They spread it out a little bit, and they're going to get 11 personnel, which means that there's 1 running back, 1 tight end, which is that's when you get a lot of RPOs. So just because they hand it off in the game doesn't mean that they're run-oriented. It means, the defense is giving them this, so that's what they had to do on that particular play. So when you say balanced, that really doesn't mean anything anymore. But like I said, they're very multiple. Well, probably not as multiple as we see in our league, but they are multiple. So we do have to recognize formations, you know, and for us defensively, we don't just line up in the same thing every time. We have to adjust to what they line up in. So there's a lot of communication going on. I thought our guys did a really good job last week of communicating and executing. But now this team is different than McMinn, so the checks may be different. So that's why obviously practice is important every week.
Who's your coach in the box up here that's looking at the defense to radio down to you, hey, we need to flip?
Daniel Hearn's in the box for us on offense, and, you know, he signals, hey, they're playing this kind of leverage in the secondary, or, you know, with the teams we play, we get a lot of teams like to start 2 high safeties. So you look up there and there's 2 safeties. Well, post snap, after the ball snap, there's a lot of movement going on. Yeah. So our quarterback has to recognize that. And you know, our very first drive last week, Tyler was recognizing those things, and we go right down the field, and then he gets hurt. So, and then we put the backups in. It's no fault to them. They're just not quite ready mentally for that type of game yet. So anyway, Daniel Hearn looks at those kind of things. I mean, you have huddle on the sidelines. You have iPads now. So after each play, we can look at the iPad. So really there's no secrets, and it's just putting our guys in the right position to make a play.
Well, last week it was really cool when AJ, I think first or second pass he threw was a touchdown pass to Stovall. And then Tucker, he threw a touchdown pass, you know, to I guess to Brady, if I remember right. Yes. Both those guys had 5 or 6 pass receptions apiece. So, you know, obviously the talent is there. A question, very warm last week. We had a lot of times where the guys with cramps and stopping the game, doesn't get water. It's going to be even hotter this week. How have you adjusted practices?
Well, honestly, when I get done here, I'm going to go check and see what it looks like. It's going to be around, you know, when we go practice at 2 o'clock, and probably have to go in the gym today and tomorrow, which is not what you want in a week like this. But the most important thing is we want to get our guys to the game healthy, you know, and will we in the best shape the game week 1? No, but I don't know who is. You know, our hope is to just continue to get better as we go. So the heat, it plays a huge factor in all of us, but it's not just us. Everybody's practicing in it. So we do have to do some work outside, but when the state requires, you know, if it's a certain temperature, you can't go outside, well, then you've got to adjust and, you know, adapt. We'll go inside to the gym and do some things in our run game, but arch your pass game. because you can't throw out there. So if we get a chance, we'll be inside a little bit, and then when the temperature's right, we'll go outside and throw as much as we can. So we're just playing it by ear at that point.
And officials on Friday night's game, they will take control of, whether it's too hot to play or whatever. And there's just certain measurement things they take care of there. I thought we had a really good crowd the other night, both sides, opening game Thursday night. Really good crowd, very emotional crowd, and they were fired up and ready to go. And we need that same group back Friday night, don't we?
Yeah, I said at the beginning of the year is just keep supporting us. Just keep supporting these guys. Just hang in there. We're not going to be the same team now as we are game 10, hopefully. So we just got to continue to get better. And I think our guys understand that. And I still think they're playing with a chip on their shoulder and they're hungry. So, hopefully some good things will happen for us this Friday.
We're going to find out Friday. That's a Friday game, not Thursday this week. We'll have a 7 o'clock kickoff. We'll go live on ESPN Cleveland at 5:30 with a pregame show, according to the interviews here. And we'll be back next week, do the show all over again. Thanks to Coach Floyd for being here. Thanks to Ownbey Appliance, Trophies Unlimited. Thanks to Mr. Short and his group back here and Studio H12 to make all these possible. Till next time, this is Gary Ownbey saying so long for now. God bless and go Bears.